Hi, everyone. Carmen Disco here, UIA TV. We got another great show for you today. I got my co-host, Mr. Chris Guerrera, and Matt Nuncio, whatever you want to call him. He doesn't listen anyway. What's happening, guys?
I told you what his name is, but you don't listen. He is the toy god to me. Okay? I don't even know Matt Nuncio, who cares? He's the toy god. That's all that matters.
It's hard for me to say my co-host, Christopher Guerrera, and God. It's just hard to do it.
You got to put toy in front of that, though.
Oh, okay. Hey,
I missed you guys. You guys spent the last 2 weeks. I missed you.
Yeah, man. You're still up in New Hampshire, right?
I am. I'm in New Hampshire. So when you guys came up, it was what, in the 90s, which is about 15 degrees above normal. Mm-hmm. Then we had on record the coldest Memorial Day weekend in the history of keeping track of it. It rained, windy. I mean, like the absolute worst weekend you can think of weather-wise we had.
Wow.
I was working, so it didn't matter to me.
Well, it could be worse. You could be in Texas. I hear they have no sun. There's flooding.
And it's such a big state, too.
Because our guest today is from Texas. And by the way, Texas, boy, I tell you, they've been a big advocate of the super potty trainer. A lot of orders, like that whole Made in USA. It's real, man. Like after seeing Shark Tank, we got so many orders from Texas. I bet you like 30% of our orders were from Texas. Pretty cool.
That's big.
That's pretty big. Definitely.
Hey, listen, have you guys done any kind of reporting to your Shark Tank partners?
Oh, yeah. We had a report the night of. Then you have a weekend report and then a week report. And we blew it out of the waters. I mean, literally above average, almost at the top end on every category. So there's a lot of things like number of units shipped, type of orders, traffic to the website. And I had to put the tool back in, and when you talk about the evaluation, right? I've already doubled the valuation. So everything that I said in the show, by the end of this month, we would have exceeded. So I just want to say, how do you like me now?
Robert, if Robert's listening.
And coming out with a full one.
That's funny, man. Awesome. Well, listen, we got a great show. We got some people listening, watching on Facebook and YouTube. So why don't you interview our new guest?
Yeah, we got a cool guest. We got a spunky guest today. That's what I want to say. Lerin Lockwood. She's pretty cool teacher, really strong athlete. Just had a new baby. So let's bring her on. Welcome on, Lerin. I'm glad to have you today.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
You got that nice Texas accent.
Oh yeah, it gets worse sometimes, depending on what hour of the day it is.
I'm living in South Carolina now, and I have no Southern accent.
That's okay.
Keeping it from the north.
All over the country.
So we were talking about the weather a little bit, and Lerin was telling us how lousy it is in Texas, or has been. You guys have had a crazy weather. Even when you had that cold front, it was kind of ironic. It went all the way into Texas and around Carolina. So we didn't see that, but I have a lot of friends in Texas. It was a mess.
Oh yeah, we had busted pipes. I mean, that was the main thing, is no one is prepared for a week-long freeze, and our pipes especially weren't. So that's kind of what everyone was dealing with, especially out here in the country. We all have well houses, and it was just trying to protect the pipes before they froze and busted. And that was like immediately within a day, it just started. It was a nightmare for a whole week. Yeah. I've never been so thankful to not have to put boots on every day just to go outside. Because here it's like flip flops or you're barefoot. And so for a whole week, I'm having to strap up these big boots just so I didn't slip and fall. And I was also 8 months pregnant at the time, so just had to.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Good. I know.
But now it's floods, so I mean, it's gone from
probably got no shovels either, right? No shovels, no plows.
Not at all. Everything shut down for a week. I didn't go to school for a week. I mean, it was crazy. It started freezing while we were at school, actually. So it was panicking. How the school bus is getting home. How are we getting home? And now it's flood, so school buses can't cross.
Yeah.
What do you teach? What exactly?
I'm a high school art teacher. I actually teach ceramics. I'm a potter, and I teach drawing in an AP studio art class.
That's
I've been doing that.
fantastic.
It's been 11 years, and I actually just resigned from teaching in a traditional classroom setting. I'm actually starting my own art school myself. So, yay.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
so that's what we want to focus on today. It's pretty cool, right? So she's a teacher. She decided she wanted to do something different. And during all of this, she's really an entrepreneur. She came up with a product. Well, let's talk a little bit about you for a minute. Like, I see you, like, you always working out. You're kind of an athlete. So tell me about yourself a little bit. What did you do? I mean, you look like you're really into working out and stuff. And I used to be, not as much. I still run, but my 23-year-old now, as Matt and Carmine know, he's going to officially be my bodyguard.
Oh yeah, well, I grew up in the country, grew up with a bunch of boys, in a town of 30 people. There's no stoplight. The post office is the size of most people's bedrooms. And we grew up just playing sports, playing outside, building forts. And I became very competitive. My mom played basketball. I chose volleyball over softball, and I played college volleyball. And really, I'm just very competitive. So I fell in love with art in high school. I actually had to drive 30 minutes to go to school every day by choice. And so I could go to a bigger school that had an art program as well. And so I fell in love with art. I had amazing art teachers there. And I decided in college, hey, I want to be a coach and I want to be an art teacher. And it's really the best of both worlds. We're kind of rare. It's rare for an artist to also be an athlete. And I managed to get a job out in Marble Falls, Texas, which is in the heart of the hill country. It's got beautiful lakes and hills. And I became a softball coach. I was the assistant softball coach. And I was like 25 at the time. And I got engaged. My boyfriend at the time, he was a baseball player. And I got engaged. I got this beautiful platinum ring. And, you know, I'm a tomboy. I don't know anything about jewelry because I don't wear it. And I have this beautiful ring. I don't want to take it off ever. I know nothing about it. Like, I know nothing about taking care of it, nothing about how malleable it is, which I learned within the first few weeks of having it. I caught a softball while I was coaching, and it flattened my engagement ring into my finger. It knocked out a diamond, and I couldn't find it. And so I had to call my fiance and tell him that I lost the diamond. And he said, I'm going to throw up. And I was like, oh, it's not the diamond, but regardless, it's a diamond. And I couldn't find it. I was out there shaking my glove. Like, I had, it's just a moment of panic. And so I had to,
I play a lot of sports too. And I always had a problem with a wedding band or any ring that I wore, always flatten it out, or I had to take it off at some point. So I think that's pretty cool how that came to life.
Or so he tells his wife.
Oh boy, listen to this.
look at you.
Story, Matt.
But anyway, I realized
I knew you were competitive in 5 minutes after talking to you. I knew you were competitive.
Just a little bit, but I'm also a sore loser. That's one of the things that drives my business. I gotta win.
You can't be a good winner if you're not a sore loser.
Right? I'm not the most gracious winner either.
So go ahead. So you got this ring, you lost a diamond. Your soon-to-be husband's probably going, oh my God, I can't believe this.
Did you find a diamond?
I didn't, no.
Oh.
Luckily, I had my ring insured, thank God, and I got it repaired, but it was an awful feeling. It was a horrible phone call. I felt so bad. He worked a long time to be able to afford that ring, and then to hear that I had broken it and also lost the diamond, it wasn't good. So I learned the hard way. I got to take off my rings while I'm being active, but I was remembering to take them off. Okay, that's hard. Then finding a safe place to keep it, and then a place that I would also remember to put it back on. So I was taking off my rings in our athletic office, which other people had access to. Granted, I trust all of them, but I mean, we're talking about the entire district has that access to that office. So I'm leaving my rings there overnight because I forgot to put them back on. And it was just, if you forget your rings at work, you're thinking about it all night because it's something very valuable. And then I ended up having to go back to school to get it. And I just needed something that was convenient, that I could keep on me, keep on my keys. And that I'd also, when I remembered my rings weren't on, I'd be able to just access at any time and put them back on. And I still do that. There's still a moment of panic when I don't have my ring on, but then I'm like, oh, it's in the Lion Latch. So that's where this whole idea came from. Is I drew it, like, I'm an art teacher. So I drew up a plan to create a small container that didn't come unscrewed and that I could keep on my keys. And my sister's next door neighbor actually makes movie props and TV show props. And I gave him the drawing. He put it in the computer and he 3D printed it for me. And I actually have it right here.
Wow.
This is the original one.
So Lion
Right,
Latch is the name, right? So
Yes.
it was born from a real necessity. Lion Latch, okay.
And the way it works, like, I'll show you the new one. So we've come a long way. It's much better now.
Yeah, the ones you sent me are
And
pretty
so
cool.
it doesn't, thank you. It doesn't come unscrewed. It's like, you could sit here and do this for hours. That's why moms love it, because kids can't get in it. You have to take off this carabiner ring first. So I designed the ring too. So once you pull that off, now you can just pull the lid. And your rings or earrings or
Now you
vitamins,
can
whatever you have
attach
as time.
to everything, like your backpacks
Oh,
and baseball bats, kits, the bags, all that stuff.
Water bottles, beach
Yeah.
bags. So anything tiny and valuable goes inside, but that ring, once it's on, that lid's locked on. So now you
Put it on
can
your
attach
belt
it.
loop.
Excuse me?
So you can even put it on your belt loop. It can go anywhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
I actually sold one to an older man one time for his hearing aids, because he said sometimes it gets too windy when he's gardening. And that's where he keeps it, is on his belt loop. I mean, it really is anything that has a loop on it, you can attach it to.
All right,
So,
so now you
convenient.
got this great idea, right? You say, okay, I got
Yes.
something. So somebody makes you a 3D print. So you prove the concept
Yes.
out, right? Which is really important. Everyone, we keep talking about this to inventors, that you can't have a sticky with an idea on a pad, right? It's a good start, but you got to prove the concept out. So you did that. Then the fun really starts, right? Now you got to get a tool made. So talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, let me, like, talking about the idea on a notepad, the reason I actually decided to go through with having the Lion Latch manufactured was at my husband's college graduation. I mean, he was a baseball player, so we waited till his career ended to finish college. And I'm sitting there listening to the speaker, and her name is Mike Inslee, and she was the first female chief of the U.S. Air Force. And she's telling everyone the best ideas never leave the drawing board. And I swear she was speaking to me, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I've got Lion Latch. I got this idea. I'm going to make it happen. So I spent a few months researching Kickstarters, because how am I going to pay for this tool? It's thousands of dollars and I'm living off of a teacher salary. All right. So I do research on the Kickstarter, how much money I need. I start searching for a manufacturer. I know nothing about tools. I know nothing about injection molding. I just start doing my research, trying to find how I can have this produced. And what was important to me was having it made in the US. But of course, my first manufacturer, they have my mold made in China, and it comes over. Well, it pretty much falls apart after a while, and I end up having to have another one made, which of course is fine, because my product evolved. It got better. I mean, you see, we have like a tiny Lion Latch compared to a larger one, which is where I'm at now. But still, it just meant the most to me to have it made in the US. Of course, we want to create jobs. But also, I want to be able to communicate with somebody immediately. When you're doing deals in China, y'all know this, you're in the middle of the night talking to someone. I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to check my email, and I can't even guarantee that somebody's emailed me back. So that was important to me, creating a relationship with somebody that's here that I could actually get a hold of, communicate with, and understand. Because again, I'm spending thousands of dollars on a mold, and it's a huge, you're not the one that wants to be wasting 20 grand. That's nothing but heartache. You're waking up all night thinking about how hard you worked for that money, and now it's gone. So that's one of the things that really mattered to me, was having it made in the US.
So come on, this is where I come in, right, and say USA, USA. Because I'm of
Oh,
the
wait.
same nature, right? Everything
Oh,
I
wait,
do.
wrong podcast.
Oh yeah, wrong podcast. Yeah, forgot. All right, so now you got you get this from, and I always say this right about China, just in general, anywhere. If it's not local, there you go, Carmine. If it's not local, then you're in the hands of hoping that you get what they say you're going to get delivered. Because if you don't, then you have a situation of either it's a bad part that you can't use, or it's a part that needs to be reworked, which is, no matter how you look at it, it's extra cost, it's more waste, more lead time. So for me, like we talk about Made in USA, it's such a big deal for me because I'm able to do it, and I can be right in the plant. I can see it when we have problems. We can identify it, quickly, even on tooling, and when we're molding it on the materials, we can make some pretty quick changes that you don't have that luxury of doing it. And the whole benefit of being American pride, that's a big deal for me, saying it's Made in USA. So I really appreciate that, Lerin, that you're having that opportunity. So talk about that a little bit now. You got it. It wasn't made very well, so you want to have it made in the US. You had to go and find another partner, right? Another supplier to do it. Walk us through that a little bit.
Again, trying to find somebody that manufactures something smaller, that's not making like big car parts like dashboards or something. There's just so many different kinds of sizes and molds with injection molding, and something that I wish I had known earlier. I wish I'd known something about like a gate where the plastic's being injected, how it's being pushed out with injector pins, multiple cavities. I mean, of course, yeah, 2 cavities. Oh, it's cheaper. But in the long run, when you finally start making those sales and there's a demand and you only have a 2-cavity mold, you can only make so many pieces at a time. So in the long run, it pays to have something with more cavities, so you're making more product in the same amount of time. And that was something I wish I would have learned, I would have known earlier, because what's a few $1,000s really when you're making that many more parts? Because eventually, if you have a good product, you're going to need that many more parts in a short amount of time.
See, that's when you said, man, I wish I knew Chris back then.
That's exactly right. I say that to myself pretty frequently. And then I look at that Shark Tank background and I'm like, oh, I'll get there.
Yeah, but you are right? Like, I always try to evaluate the product. It's hard to tell what's going to sell and what's not going to sell. But for the dollars to do a 2-cavity versus a 4-cavity, it's not that much more, because you're setting it up in the same platform. I mean, you have a small part, so 4 or 6 cavity, even 8 cavity, depending on the size of the tonnage, is doable, and it's not that much more expensive. But the output and the cycle time is insane. How many more you can pump out?
Well, you also have to determine what type of material you're making the mold out of. Let's not skip that. You're making a mold out of like beryllium or aluminum, it's probably not worth it.
Right. Yeah, you want something that's going to last, right? Some hardened steel, and so that's definitely a big deal. And what plastic you ultimately select too has an effect, especially on a smaller prototype mold. What did you end up going with for material? You went with a polypropylene?
Polycarbonate.
Polycarbonate, okay, yeah. So I mean, I think all those play a role, because cycle times affect when you're using HIPs or polypropylene with an ethylene blend, depending on what it is. But you have the beauty of having a small product, which I personally like. The smaller, the better. They're just easier. To me, it's easier to do the value add. It's easier to package, easier to sell. It's less handling, less cost to ship. I mean, going all day with this.
He also has an item, though, that should be pointed out that is ideal for the U.S., similar to your potty item. It's a non-decoed or low decoed injection molded piece that could be pumped out of a machine with low labor costs. So those are the types of items that are perfect for making in the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely. And you start looking at, when you start really getting volume, you can start really eliminating labor completely. You can start using robotics. You can put them on conveyors and bring them to the next stage in the process. So yeah, you're right. All of that lends itself to good Made in USA products. And so you got that going for you, right? So now you've got another tool made. So you finally found a supplier, right?
Yes.
Okay, so walk us through that process now.
Once I got a new supplier, which step do you want me to go in? Because
just go to when you found a new supplier, what really the next critical areas for you were. Did you end up going with a 2-cavity, 4-cavity?
Oh, the new one is 4, absolutely.
Yep.
And I make them more. Okay. Whenever I had the first one made, I didn't know if my product would take off, of course. So when they talk about your business growing and it growing at the right pace and the right speed, I'm definitely done that. And I learned a lot within the first 3-4 years of my product. And I was just, okay, I did the Kickstarter because everyone I knew wanted a Lion Latch. Well, of course, to have it 3D printed, it's like $30, or it was at the time. And then I'd have to go find a carabiner this is a Dollar Tree carabiner. So I decided, hey, if this Kickstarter takes off and I get funded, I'll have it manufactured. My friends will all get one. And then I'll just sell it for fun on my website. And after about a year of it selling on my website, sales trickle in here or there. I got a jewelry store reach out to me, or I had a jewelry store reach out to me, and they're like, hey, we want this product in our store. We think it'll sell great. Do you wholesale? And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'll Google it and figure it out and I'll get back to you. So I did. I was like, yeah, I wholesale. Okay, cool. You're going to buy, this many pieces. They asked me what's the minimum order, and I told them 100. I had no idea what I was talking about. And I hadn't talked to
100,000.
No idea. Right. Well, they ended up buying 100. So now I got a mom and pop shop emailing, hey, what's the minimum order? I'm like 100. They're like, no way. That's a ton of money. That's way too much money for our little store. And I was like, okay, what's reasonable? They're like, 20 to 30 units, whatever a display will hold. Well, now I'm like, oh my God, I got to make a display. And I'm Googling where I can find those. And that's just another thing is I started doing shows. I started doing gift shows because, if people are coming to find me, maybe this is time for me to go find them and find the stores myself. So my display, my original one is like $25. And that's how much I was having to pay to have the sign made and the actual wire rack. And I go to the show and I find somebody that makes a better signage. They make better signage. It's cheaper. I'm going from $8 a sign from somebody locally to 50 cents a sign. And so I get the price down on my display. So that was something that was really hard to find. But once you start doing these shows, you find other people that make their own product. And some of them make everything like you, Chris. So they got the display, they've got the product, they got the packaging. And that's what's really cool about shows is you start networking and you find people that are like you, that have your same problems. It's hard to just Google these people and find them or find them on Facebook. And so I'm at this show. I'm at America's Mart in Atlanta. This is a big one. This is my first show ever. And I choose the biggest one because I'm crazy. And all of a sudden the grommet comes up, and they're a website that promotes products that from entrepreneurs locally. And that way you can have a story that backs your product. Well, the grommet picks up the Lion Latch, and I'm shipping out like several hundreds of them packaged in little boxes. I have my high school students coming over to help me pack them. And we're doing this in my living room. And a few weeks later, after it launches, I got a call from Good Morning America. And I'm pretty sure that's where they found me, is they were looking for new products, and they found me on the grommet within a couple of weeks.
Grommet's great. Joanne, who was the founder, used to sit on our board, on the board of the UIA.
Oh yeah, they're super nice. The women that owned it at the time. Now it's been bought out by.
She's since gone. Yes, that was good.
Yeah, but a key thing there that you said, Lerin, is the exposure, right? I mean, I've made some decisions that put me in front of the right people, and if I hadn't gone and done it, I wouldn't have been exposed to it. And in your case, so you said, okay, you picked the biggest one, but you found the grommet, and then they posted something, and it's all about that network, and it's about being at the right place at the right time. And in this case, you were. So let's talk about that for a moment. So now you get a call from Good Morning America, which is my second office. So I feel like I'm family there now.
Sure.
So that's something we really got in common. We actually had Tom Kelly on one of the previous shows that me and Carmine do, which we talked about a bunch of stuff about me being on Good Morning America and get, proposal to Brandy and a bunch of different stories. But it's pretty cool to hear the inside version of what people see as the outside. So you get a call, right? Now you've got a 4-cavity tool. You're probably not utilizing it to what its capacity is. you actually get a call to go on Good Morning America, right? Not just your product.
Well, the first time they called me, they said, we're looking for women-owned businesses. We're doing a special, can you produce this many pieces? And I was like, by when? And they said, well, this is mid-January. They're like mid-March, first week of March even. And I was like, I don't know. I've never done this many pieces in such a short amount of time. And I didn't want to commit to that. And they put me on The View instead, which is like, it's got a smaller audience. So it kind of is the intro to what's going to happen on Good Morning America.
But
and I'm really thankful.
Hang on just 1 second, right? They called you and they said, can you produce this? And you said, well, let me find out and call you back. What happened when you called back?
They had already booked the spot.
Okay, so a lesson that needs to be learned. The answer is hell yeah. And you go figure out how to do it, because you might not get a second chance. You did, thankfully.
That's very true. But at the same time, I mean, I don't want to commit to something that I'm not sure I'm able to pull off.
Yeah, no, and it's your first really big opportunity. So there's a little bit of nervousness. I get it. Trust me. I mean, like me walking into Shark Tank with basically no sales is very similar to that. But I just figured I had enough sales, and I had enough of what I could sell that I'll walk and talk through it, and it worked out. But you're right. You got to be really careful with that, because in the end, you have to to actually deliver what you say you're going to deliver. So
absolutely.
Okay, so you get it. So they give you The View. What happens with The View?
Well, I sell about 17,000 units. And so now it's like, oh my God, how am I going to fill these orders? And my students, again, this is where being a teacher, like, it really helped me. My best students were like, hey, we'll come help you, pay us, feed us, and we'll come help you with the fulfillment parties. And they showed up. These kids told me they were going to be there, and they showed up. And oh my God, in 2 days, we're filling 17,000 units. And it was a great test run, because what people don't understand about being on these TV shows is who is going to do fulfillment for you. And, is your manufacturer going to make it on time? And that was another thing, is my manufacturer was having a hard time keeping up with that order. And I had family members driving my product from Dallas to me out in Burnett. And thank God for them. I mean, I got a good family. I had a great staff of teenagers helping me. I mean, they were all my seniors, and we got it done. It was crazy. Bags and bags of packages, like, ready to go out, and we did it. We pulled it off.
All right. So that's what every entrepreneur dreams about, right? A big order. You made some good decisions with a 4-cavity. You get an opportunity. You missed one on Good Morning America, and you're probably saying, oh no. Then you get an opportunity to view. So you get a taste of what it's like to get a 17,000 piece order, which is a little stressful and hectic. Then what happens with Good Morning America to follow?
Well, the next January, I was thinking about when they had contacted me about that show with the Women's History Month. And I had just been debating, you know what, maybe I should shoot them an email. There's a chance they're doing it again. And I did, and they said, would you like to fly out to be on the show and demo your product in person? And I was
let me answer that for you. You said, yes.
Oh yeah, they were like,
I'm going.
Can you take off from teaching that long? I was like, oh, I will. I'm putting it in right now. Yes, I am. I would have gone earlier. But I got to go on the show, and it was absolutely insane, because I'm up there. I'm on stage with women who their business just went public, women who are social media, really like influencers with their own product, hundreds of thousands of followers. And then there's me, and I'm a teacher, and I'm like, oh, hey. Like, oh, okay, yeah, wow, your outfit is amazing. Like, how much were those shoes? And I just went and bought mine at Macy's the day before.
I mean, look, how cool is this story, right? So you had a call. Let's call it a missed opportunity, but you did it for the right reason. You got to follow up with The View, because it is a cool product. Then you deliver, and now not only are you delivering a Good Morning America, you're sitting on a set with Tori Johnson, Robin
Oh.
Roberts, George Evanopoulos, Michael Strahan. I've been there. It's pretty cool. It's pretty
It is.
surreal, right?
It absolutely. And I'm just so thankful to Tori Johnson and her team because, I mean, they, of course, they take a chance with every product that goes on there. And I mean, it really did make the world of difference for like my product, my business, and my family. I mean, I'm retiring from teaching and pursuing my business full time. And if it wasn't for her, like them calling me that day, I would not be in this position. So I'm absolutely forever grateful. And that whole staff, everybody on GMA, they are the nicest people, like so nice, and had conversations with me. Robin took a Lion Latch, Laura took a Lion Latch. I mean, like people are taking Lion Latches, and I'm like, oh my God, like they want this product actually. And it was just a great experience, but at the same time, it's live television, and you're like, keep it together, because I get very excited.
Yeah.
I'm that coach. When my players would do something amazing, I would be celebrating harder than they would. So to be on a stage like that and to actually like control everything and not like black out.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, it's really that's a pretty big deal. It's pretty cool. And so on a scale 1 to 10, how nervous were you? Be honest. How nervous were you?
Right before it was my turn to walk out there, it was really like I had to talk to myself. Probably a 10. Sudden rush. But I always tell myself I am Beyonce, and Beyonce wouldn't be panicking like this. And so I just kind of zoned in and then went out there and I started pitching my product. And the host got so excited that they kept interrupting me. And I was like, oh my God, don't forget what you're supposed to do. Like, don't forget what you're supposed to say. Don't drop this. Like, and it really was like, they kept interrupting me, which is awesome because to see people get excited about your product. I mean, of course they're supposed to do that because they're the host, but at the same time, they were excited. Like, oh, I need this when I work out, when I play tennis. And I was like, yes, you do.
Yeah, no, it's real. And those, like you said it, Good Morning America, my experience there and the people that I actually know there are unbelievable. They are just like everyone else. Right, they just have a different role and a different job, but they are extremely nice, incredibly professional. Even the camera guys, the producers, all the people in the background and making the things happen. It's just like a family. It really is pretty cool stuff. So then what happened? You get a pretty big order from that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Bigger. It was bigger than The View, and now I have to go back to Texas, like within hours of filming, and start filling the orders. So this is where I wish my business
had, right? This is what the American dream is all about.
Absolutely. And so many people of all types watch Good Morning America. And I fly back to Texas. I have my kids are ready to go, and they come in and they help me. And we got it done again. And it was just, but we were prepared this time. We knew what to expect. I knew that my post office wanted me to have a barcode for them to scan rather than scanning each package, because with The View, I didn't do that. I didn't know. So again, we have a local post office. They're the sweetest people on the planet. But when they saw me show up with all these bags, they were like, kind of cringing.
That's what just happened to me. I became best friends with the local post office. They have bags for me to put them in now. They were picking them up. I was dropping them off. I mean, when I first showed up, I think I had 3,000 orders. They were like, are you serious? Do you have a manifest? I go, no, we have a lot of barcodes. Oh, Lord, please give us a manifest so we can scan the one manifest, which has all of the barcodes on it. So, but same thing, great people, incredibly good people.
And I'm so thankful. And they still wait for me after hours, because a lot of days I'm hauling after school to try to make it there before the truck comes to pick them up. And they wait for me because they're good people. I'm lucky to be in a small town like that, to where I can create those relationships as well. And they were pumped because they were competing with like Austin on postage for a few days, and Round Rock, which are our big cities. And just one little product was making those postage purchases for them. So they weren't too mad.
I think generally good people are happy when someone like yourself becomes successful. You know, it's a hometown girl, right? As a teacher, has a great story, just had a newborn baby, right? And all that stuff going on. So all this stuff is pretty exciting. So So now where are you? Let's get like an update. So we got a history of where you are, where you came from. So how are you fulfilling them now? How are you making them, and where are you selling them?
I'm still doing my own fulfillment. It doesn't take me too long. I've kind of got it down now. I talked to a big business when I started all of this, and they said, if you can manage your own fulfillment, do it. If it's not taking too much time away from your life and your family, and it doesn't take you long, then you can do it yourself. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. And so that's what I've been doing. I sell on my website, lionlatch.com, and of course, Amazon. I'm the only seller on there because, you know, when people look for something, they look on Amazon first. And that's the life we live in. My students always, oh, well, you know, I'm just getting on Amazon. That's another thing people don't understand is it's more expensive on Amazon because we have to pay fees. Amazon's got to make some money somewhere. And people don't know that. They don't know to just go to somebody's website and buy it there. They'll save money. They're supporting a business even more directly. And it'll probably get to you faster because, you know, we have a few days with Amazon, whereas in our own business, we're taking care of things quickly as well.
Yeah, I think as a startup company and entrepreneur, the win-win is to buy from your website or anybody's website, because you're right. There's a fulfillment that you have to ship to Amazon. They're always backed up. They got to get it into stock, and then they have the Prime, which at that point may be 2 days. But the initial fill rates are slow right now, and it gets worse during the holidays. So, but the only problem that I see is with Amazon is you have to have it on there, right? Because people
Absolutely.
Google it and they want to see it on Amazon. They want to see reviews. It's kind of a search engine. But you're right. So, you know, I think to really support the entrepreneur is to buy it directly from the website, because you're not paying any.
On Amazon, and you also need to be on Walmart.com, because the coasts peripherally all focus on Amazon, but the interior of the country actually goes to Walmart.com first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at some point it's good to have it in retail as well, because people can see it. You get more free press, and it just works out in the end. And I also think, Lerin, if you can fulfill it, I mean, I fulfill all my orders, right? I mean, we have the benefit of being under one roof, so we can do our own tooling, our own injection molding, fulfill it. It's so much faster. It's quick. The whole process is quicker, and you have total control over it, right? You see what's happening in the market, and it just eliminates another process of cost, which is
Absolutely. And packaging too. I mean, packaging takes time, and I'm at the point where I've got to get some packaging going if I want to get into these big box stores. So that's the next step. I mean, the growth, there's a plan. I have a growth chart and I'm sticking to it. Thank God. I mean, and it's working. And you don't want to grow too fast, because then you're like, oh God, how am I going to fill all these orders? Where am I going to get the product from? Or a manufacturer's going to keep up? And I've learned these like step by step. And it's been amazing. Like I'm very lucky and fortunate to have a product that people actually love and need to use. Because I'm not the only person that's broken an engagement ring playing softball. I get pictures all the time of flattened rings. My daughter lost her necklace or James Avery ring at volleyball because she didn't have anywhere to put it. They just throw it in their bags and hope it's going to be there when they come back. And that's why I made the Lion Latch. And also with student athletes, these kids, you can't wear jewelry while you're playing sports for schools. Like that's college and high school. And they forget, they come out of the locker room in a hurry. And I'm like, you got to take off your rings, your earrings, your necklace. And then they try to hand it to me. And as a coach, I don't want that responsibility, because I have a hard time remembering to pick up my own ring off of my desk every day or take it off. And I don't need an angry parent calling me. So that's become a huge market for me, are these high school athletes, middle school too. I took to TikTok and I accidentally had a video go viral, over 5.5 million views. It was crazy. I was doing hundreds of orders a day just because of TikTok. And it's definitely a product for anyone of any age that wears jewelry and might have to take it off. I mean, it's convenient. It even holds money. Lost teeth. Had a mom send me a picture of a baby tooth inside a Lion Latch. She said, I hope the tooth fairy can get in a Lion Latch. I was like, we might need to include an instruction tag for her.
That's great. So, yeah. So I think about like where you started, where you currently are. So let's talk about how do you you talked about you have a plan and you're on track. How do you plan on scaling it up? Because if you're going to scale it up now, we're talking hundreds of thousands of units and this is a product I see that can lend itself to all the retailers,
Okay.
right? Not just online. So what do you talk about that a little bit, because that's another scary next level feat for a lot of people, is
Oh, yeah.
really making it into a business and scaling it up.
I've got to have packaging, and I'm also going to have another mold made. I mean, if I've got to produce that many units and it's already a struggle with the 4-cavity mold, then I'm going to have more cavities. And so again, this is something that you got to think about in the process is, how many cavities am I going to need? Is it going to be worth the money in the long run? Am I going to get there though? Am I going to have those orders come in? And then packaging as well. I mean, yeah, at Hobby Lobby, you might see something like the Lion Latch just hanging there on a tag. You might see that at their impulse aisle, but a lot of the things that sell the most that aren't just like a little knickknack, they've all got packaging. So that's the next thing that I've got to have is packaging that's worth the money again to produce. And with like Walmart and Target, what I hear a lot of the horror stories is that they change your packaging. So that's another thing that I have to consider is if I really want to pursue a big box store, do I want to let them just design my packaging for me, or am I going to come in there with something and then them keep changing it? Because Unbuckle Me, they were on Shark Tank. She posted the other day that they had to change their packaging twice before they did their big shipment. And that's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I can speak to
Change
that.
your packaging per se. They require that you make it merchandisable to the section to which the planogram that they're putting it in. So
Yeah.
that's probably what they mean.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because even during my visits in Walmart with the Tidy Hook, for example, we had already made some iterations from the length, the size of the packaging to cut it down to half. But even some of the graphics we weren't 100% happy with. But when we presented it to the buyer, he had some really good suggestions. So I listened and took advantage of it. It said, hold 5 feet, 5 seconds, bringing someone over to see what it is. And today that packaging looks really retail ready. It's really good. And now Walmart's going to put it in all the stores. So
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit what Matt said. It's a little bit of where is it going to be? Who's going to be looking at it? I mean, ideally to get it into a main aisle, you need some sales for that, but that's having a PDQ and having people see it. Yours could lend itself to that. So I think that's a little bit of just quickly from a distance, what attraction is it going to have? So I would say, if you haven't done that yet, Lerin, work with somebody who understands retail and understands how to design a package for retail. You don't have to go with it right off the bat, but at least those people understand it and they can give you some really good suggestions.
Like what Matt was saying, that's exactly right. I mean, how are you going to argue with the experts? You're not. And that's what, but again, I'm not the one that likes to waste money. I want to know these things, do the research, talk to these people like you did, Chris, and make the right choices early on. But I mean, packaging is definitely the next step for me.
Well, packaging paramount. It's your front line of defense. I mean, but we do a ton of packaging here. My degree is in package design. And we work with Walmart, we work with Walgreens, we work with every major. As I've made this joke before, my clients in packaging range from Hasbro to Hooters. Like
Yeah.
and absolutely, packaging will make or break your item, especially in big box.
And man, I could see this kind of falling in line with some of your products, this type of product.
Yeah, well, we do stuff for all those. We do a lot of giftable items.
So there you go, Larry. You just found your packaging expert. Look at that.
Stop doing that,
I told
though.
you he was the toy god. I should say that. I started to show off by saying he was the toy god, and here we are again. There you go.
It's an impulse item, and that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's very cute. It's a good item. It's a great item.
Come on, what do you think? I mean, now you understand. Like, I don't need to know his last name. Now you get it.
I was gonna say, Lerin, that you just happen to have one of probably the top packaging people in the area online with us.
I see that, Bob.
But it's a great product. I really love it. What I like about it is that I can see people buying multiple of these because I don't want to keep taking it off.
Yeah,
I'm going to put it.
Things. Carl would have one for his rings, one for his marijuana, and
one for other types of illegal drugs, and then on my gym bag, on my backpack, in my car.
Matt's on a roll today. And Lerin, right? All different colors. I'm imagining, right? You're selling this in all kind of colors.
Oh yeah, like I've got got 10 different colors going. I mean, I did a poll before I started making these, and my top seller is actually an accident. Who didn't mean to make that color, but it happened and it took off. So, I mean, I've got colors related to high schools and colleges. I mean, related, women love pink and mint and purple, of course. And then I have men's colors like safety orange and blue, red and gray. And I've got a black coming up, but I mean, I've got plenty of colors. Not every woman likes pink, of course.
It's funny because black's probably the easiest color to make, honestly. You start adding light colors, you got to clean out the fillers and all that. But
You can use regrinds for black. But quick question though, well, not quick necessarily, but we and I understand it's because Chris is heavy in the manufacturing end of stuff, but we completely skipped over the design phase.
Yeah.
So I'm curious of, how many iterations of this did you end up doing before you went to tooling? Were you doing it as an art teacher? Were you doing the design yourself? Can you expand upon that?
Absolutely. So this original one is just for my rings. And I realized not everyone just wears wedding bands. After talking, they're like, I need a bigger one. Can you make it deeper? I have a giant collegiate ring and it won't fit in that one. So I went and the next thing is I needed something that didn't come unscrewed. I mean, you probably have seen something that has a screw top lid and it strips over time. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that scared me. I mean, I've already damaged my ring, lost that diamond. I didn't need something on my keys that could just come unscrewed and fall off somewhere. That's even worse. So that's why I made it to where it has the stem on the inside. And so you can see that. And so that's part of the base. And then the lid has a hole in it and it goes over the stem. So
is that protected as a utility? I'm just curious because it's smart. It's a smart solution.
Yes, it's patent pending with a utility patent. Thank you.
Fantastic. And it should be because it's a smart idea.
Thank you. And I drew it in class. I made an art project for my students so I could work on it too. And it was find a problem and create a solution for it and then draw the blueprint for it. And so while they're blueprinting, I'm blueprinting, and I ended up with the larger Lion Latch. And the original one actually fits inside this lid, sits inside it. So that was another thing. Just by putting a little more to the sides of it, just a little more space, opened it up for men's collegiate rings and wedding bands. So my husband's, both of those can fit in the Lion Latch. And with women and girls, they have earrings and rings and small necklaces. And you can actually fit a lot of stuff in this tiny container, and even money, folded up dollar bills can go inside. I have a mom, she sent me a picture. She's got twin boys and she keeps a $5 bill in it as an emergency fund for them.
Well, with that utility, though, you can expand that to just about anything. You can have all sorts of cases that can hold anything from your fishing gear to your wedding band.
I've got pictures of that too, with tiny fishing inside and tiny weights. And it was attached to his fishing vest.
Hey, Matt, I'm actually an engineer, right? Mechanical engineer, but I did design engineering for Ford and GM for many years. I evolved, it's ironic, after going to BMW into manufacturing and became a black belt lean expert, which now, as you all know me, as the king of manufacturing.
Yes, right? Yes.
All of America knows.
That's right. But Lerin, talk about that little pinhole there. There's some trouble making that, right? It's not an easy ejector proposition with that little hole there.
You talking about that one right there?
Yeah, that one.
That's another.
Great for design and for functionality, but for molding, it's a little tricky.
Yeah, with 3D printing, it was fine. That wasn't. And then that's what I'm talking about with having these smaller molds made and learning over time. And then that's also something when I talk to manufacturers, I have to explain, look, these are the issues I've had with previous ones. This might be an issue for you. And several, of course they're like, oh no, this is what we're talking about. Oh no, we can do that, right? Oh, I can have that many parts made for you. And then we get there and it's like, skirt, what didn't you understand? I explained to you what is going to happen, and you had a heads up and everything. This shouldn't be a surprise. And that was another thing, is they had to make something to help push out the all the excess plastic that's hanging on there. And so that was something that we actually recently had to fix, because when quality is going through that, they're having to toss out 1 out of every 3 that I have made. So we had to come up with another solution to fix that as well.
Yeah, that's all in the cutoff in the tool. But you know, if you go all the way back to what Matt said originally, you came up with a design, you developed it, you proved some concept, you proved it out, right? You didn't just walk into, I got an idea, into a tooling. There's a process, and sketching it is one step, but developing it, designing it right, then proving it out through a concept and using it the functionality of it is as critical as you can get before
Absolutely.
taking it to the volume levels. And even now, like you said, 1 out of 4, that's, in my world, that's completely unacceptable. All of that is caught early on in critical characteristics and what you're measuring as it's being molded. And that's a cutoff problem in the tool. So all of those I mean, that's obviously what I do all day. That's a sweet spot for me. But you went through all those iterations. So that's also as important as selling an item once you have it, because you have to deliver. You want it to be like the ones you sent me all look great, right? They're nice quality. They look smart. They work and function properly. Those are all really important things. In the end, when the customer gets it, they'll tell you what kind of product you have by your reviews, by your returns, and how they like it and how they reorder. Yeah, so
absolutely, especially
all
with
critical.
the Amazon reviews. They're real quick to tell you everything.
Yeah.
And like that's another thing for me that's scary is reviews. You know, it scares me to read them, but I'm really lucky that people relate to me. They relate to my product, and I've got really good reviews. Like I know that I've got a 4.7, 4.8 on Amazon, and it's really important. But I include an insert with my Amazon packaging I sign it even. And I'm like, hey, I'm Lerin, I'm a mom and a teacher. This is my product. Thank you so much for supporting me and my small business. This is made in the US. And if you have a problem, please email me directly before trying to send it back to Amazon, where it gets destroyed, right? Isn't that what happens if it gets sent back there?
Yeah.
But luckily, they contact me and I'm able to fix that. But people don't understand, when you order from Amazon, they're not making your product. We're small businesses that are selling our products through Amazon. And it hurts when you leave us a bad review if you have a bad experience. You know, also, I can't control the mail. Is that surprising? Like, really? I'm not a U.S. Postal Service worker. And another thing, like, their products were getting lost during our ice storm. People are sending me like angry messages on Amazon. And I was like, hey, I'm Lerin, I'm the inventor. I'm sorry you're upset, but I can't control the weather. And I'm worried about my house flooding right now more than I am about your order. And I'm so sorry about that, but I will get this taken care of, I promise.
Well, I think it's important, though, that you're doing that, because that also, I mean, that's a big deal when you're intimately involved in your product and with the customer. It just builds a rapport, it builds a relationship, it shows good customer service.
She's humanizing her brand, which is very important.
Absolutely. I think it's critical. Yeah.
And I'm a teacher.
You can't
I'm
control
already
all that stuff.
out all day running on like 4 espresso shots, just trying to make it. And then I have my business on top of that. And my family, I mean, I have a 4-year-old daughter. I just had a baby. He's 2 months old. And I'm very fortunate to have a family that loves me and wants to help me. Like right now, they're all juggling the children. I'm at my sister's house. So I have people helping me.
Not literally juggling them.
Don't know.
He was before we got on. We saw it.
I know. I had to introduce y'all to Bowie beforehand, because if not, she's gonna be trying to get in here just to wave to you. But she's been a part of Lion Latch since she was born.
Yeah.
She calls it Lion Latching. You know, can you stop Lion Latching and we can go to the park? I'm like, let me get these orders done, then we can go to the park.
Lerin, it's funny because I think that's a really cool thing that you're doing. I brought my kids into it when they were old enough to learn a lot about lean, right? And like my oldest now is 28, has learned so much that he's taking that into his own business, his own purchasing concepts. And my youngest, who doesn't believe that stuff works until he actually sees it, and I threaten to take out some money out of his paycheck for wasting it in the process. They learn quick, and it just makes them better at business. And it becomes, you know, it makes it a realization of what the working world is like and how to perform at high levels. So I think that's really great that you're doing that. You know, at an early stage, your kids will watch everything you do.
The Chinese have a proverb which applies to this. I'm second generation in this business and have been doing it, geez, my whole life. But they say the first generation starts a business, the second generation creates a business, the third generation destroys a business.
And we've all seen that.
Yeah.
By the way, this is my third generation. No, I can't. Hey, Lerin, quick question for you. One is actually just one thing. You designed this product at home before you developed it at school, in case anybody asks.
Yeah.
Secondly, you have any other products in mind for the future? Not that you can share with us, or any other ideas that you're thinking about taking to market?
Oh, I do. Everyone is like, we need a bigger Lion Latch, because some people, they don't just wear dainty jewelry, and so that's it works
They
right.
wear like gold chains. They wear
Oh, yeah.
heavy duty gold chains.
Yeah, because Matt usually has a Mr. T starter kit.
Let me just say, I'm the only one here without a vowel in my last name wearing jewelry. I'm just going to point that out.
For my rapping, my next career is going to be all rapping. Matt's going to join me.
You are the king of manufacturing.
I got Run DMC dolls up here we designed somewhere.
There you go. I knew Matt would be involved in this. I knew it.
Yeah.
So I have one in the works. That's where Chris is hopefully going to come into play, and then Matt with the packaging. So
Awesome.
right?
That's what
Yeah.
this
I'm
is all
happy to
about.
help you with that. I love your story. I love the whole process. You have a great product. I mean, you sent me some. I use them now. A really good idea. I mean, I wish they were when I was playing softball. I'm just too old now. When I was younger, I was like you, like my Tyler is competitive, and I was playing on 3 teams, traveling all over the country, playing AAU and all kinds of sports. So this would have been really handy, because I did wear chain and rings and things that I put in my bag. And you're right, can't find it, or I damaged it. Great idea. It really is cool. And I love the whole Good Morning America story, the whole taking the call and like, yeah, no, not ready. Oh, what did I just do?
Exactly.
Then getting an opportunity to deliver. So pretty cool stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, if that ever happens, Lerin, again, just forward the call to me or Matt or Chris. We'll take it.
We will say yes. We're gonna double the amount you need.
Yeah.
All right, cool stuff. Hey, Lerin, thank you very much. And I know you're really busy with all the kids and the stuff you got going on. So to join us for this hour has been really good. And I think it's a really good learning opportunity for many of our listeners. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of patience, and you're still developing. You're still growing. You're still working at the next levels and improving and evolving into a world-class product. So really, really appreciate the time.
Thank you all. Thank you for having me on. I enjoyed it.
It was a pleasure.
Great job. Great job. Well, thank you, everyone out there that's listening in on UIA TV. We are doing this every Thursday, right, Chris? Hey, Chris or Matt, are we going to continue this, or are we going to wait? What's going on with the next series?
To
I
be
don't know, Matt,
determined.
what are we doing in the next series? We're going right to the fall. We're going to go through the whole summer.
No, we'll be picking up in a few weeks. I got to do that damn executive board. You know anyone who's in charge of that executive board by any means?
I know a couple
No.
people.
No one.
One of them
No
we're
one's in
looking
charge
at.
of it.
One of them's got a pink shirt on. We're looking at him.
I was just trying to get you put on the spot live here. But any of you guys out there listening, please stay tuned. Keep going on to the UAA website, uaausa.org. If for some reason you're not a member of the United Inventors Association, please become a member. It is free, so there's no reason not to. Go on out and join UAA TV and make sure you subscribe. But before that, go out to lionlatch.com and pick up a few of these awesome products. They're really cool. I love all the colors, and I thank Lerin Lockwood for being on with us today and sharing her story. It was very, very enlightening, exciting, a lot of fun. I'm so glad that you're successful in this product.
Thank you all.
All right. And we will catch you all next time. UIA TV, you all take care.